I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. From the first name in fashion comes a new era in watchmaking. Ermenegildo Zegna of Italy is one of the premier men's fashion, menswear, men's style authorities in the world. With business in 80 countries, over $1.5 billion in annual revenue, and 550 boutiques, there's no doubting that they have credibility on the couture scene. But only the top 20 boutiques received this. This is the Ermenegildo Zegna Centennial limited edition watch, developed and built in conjunction with Girard-Perregaux of La Chaux-de-Fonds, Switzerland. This came out in 2010 for the Centennial of the Ermenegildo Zegna manufacturer. Now here's the thing. Ermenegildo Zegna manufactures tailored suits, Italian shoes, general men's fashion accessories, and they have since 1910. So what are they doing in watchmaking? Well, the bottom line is they didn't have a major presence in the growing luxury horology sector, even though their roots stretch back to Angelo Zegna, who prior to Ermenegildo's foundation of the company bearing his name, was actually a watch and clock restorer in Italy. So although they had roots in horology, they didn't jump in over their head until 2010. But if you're going to jump in over your head, go in with a good lifeguard. If you're going to steal, steal from the best. And if you're going to borrow, shack up with a partner that knows its stuff. Girard-Perregaux meets all of those criteria. GP, along with Zenith, Patek Philippe, Rolex, Jaeger-LeCoultre, it's one of those watch manufacturers that is able to master all aspects of constructing a watch. Dial, movement, case. In fact, they have a heritage dating back to 1791, which means that they have one of the longest and most distinguished patrimonies of all of these manufacturers. In fact, to this day, they have the competency to build both the movement and the case of the watch, stamping their cases no less, not machining them. So there's a tremendous amount of original horological content here. This is by no means a fashion watch. Zegna went big. When they went into horology, it's one of those go big or go home deals, and you don't get any bigger than Girard-Perregaux. So let's talk about this 40mm red gold watch and what it brings to the table. First and foremost, it is a modern dress reference, which means that it's not a petite 31, 33, 35mm mid-century dress watch, although it has that same visual signature. Putting it on my wrist, which is 6 1/3 inches, that's 16 centimeters for our friends in Switzerland and Italy. Bonjour, buongiorno. The bottom line is, it wears thin, it wears flat, it wears with elegance. While some might say 40mm is a little large for a dress watch, I say it's thoroughly contemporary, and it comes down to the way the watch wears on your individual wrist. Now, my wrist is fairly oval, traditional profile. I think I'm pretty representative of what's out there in the smaller wrist realm. If you have a larger wrist, I wouldn't go with a dress watch any smaller than this, and if your wrist is comparable to mine, rest assured, with these close conforming, tightly curved lugs, this watch wears flat and it wears comfortable. It has tremendous presence because of the small bezel in relation to the large silver dial, so it has a lot of visual impact, and with the red gold, it's just a little bit warmer than an overpowering yellow and silver combination would read in these proportions. But the bottom line is that there's also a lot of gorgeous detailing going on here. You can see that the lugs themselves are actually not beveled, even though they are tapered. So they have very strong character lines on their tops. You can see from the sides, they have tremendous tumble home. That is, they slope away to the side, and so does the case itself. And that enables a dress cuff, a long sleeve, Zegna, I'm talking to you guys, to slide up over and easily. So as big as the watch is, it's not high. It's very thin, under 12mm thick. It sits flat on the wrist, and it coexists nicely with the finest black tie attire. It's also a complicated watch, and in that respect, Girard-Perregaux was the perfect choice for Zegna's first foray into watchmaking. An annual calendar, it features an odd combination of a date and a month, but no day. I actually like this because it's a little bit offbeat, like the asymmetrical layout of the dial itself, which is neither vertically nor bilaterally symmetrical. There's just enough of a twist there, a wink and a nod, a little bit of that Italian flamboyance. It's that incongruity that you see in something like a Lamborghini Countach that grabs your attention and holds it because it's intriguing but not quite perfect, and you can't quite resolve it. It dwells in your mind and it dwells on your consciousness, and as a result it grabs and holds your attention more effectively than something that's symmetrical, simple, and as a result forgettable. The Zegna definitely isn't. You'll also notice that there's no co-branding going on here. This is Ermenegildo Zegna. Doesn't say Girard-Perregaux, doesn't say Zegna by GP. This is discreet. This is the way it should be. This is what the Ferrari watches of the 90s should have been. Something in the style of, in the spirit of, but without being so expressly co-branded. And there is no co-branding here, although the pedigree is unmistakable. Ermenegildo Zegna, 1910 to 2010, 100 units built, one for each year the company was in action. And the bottom line is, it's as gorgeous on the back as it is on the front. Now, this is a Girard-Perregaux manufacturer, automatic winding, 3300 series pusher movement, as it's known. Tons of mainspring barrel torque to drive complications, and that's welcome in an annual calendar, which, I should note, needs to be reset only once a year in the jump from February to March. So the bottom line is all the traditional elements of decoration are here. 18-karat rose gold winding rotor, and that's the only place where you will see the Girard-Perregaux name discreetly engraved on the watch. You also have circular Côte de Genève on the rotor, linear grained Côte de Genève on the bridges, and then on the base plate a gorgeous, tight, almost digital-looking perlage. So tight and so fine. These aren't the big fat beads of turned metal that you'll see on a lot of watches. This is tight, this is precise, and it's gorgeous because it is such a different look. And with plenty of base plate visible, you really get the full effect of that engine turning. To top it all off, the actual regulator mechanism right here is beautifully polished, almost poly noir black polish. As you move it through the light, it really reacts and dazzles gorgeous. Cobalt heat-blued screws, gorgeous in their own right. They add a splash of color and character to this Girard-Perregaux manufacture movement. The Zegna is a Centennial watch. It is an unconventional watch. It's a new episode in the history of a glorious couture company joining forces with one of the greatest manufacturers in watchmaking. This is two superpowers from two, I would say, capitals of style, capitals of trend setting, capitals of savoir-faire for Italy, couture and style, for Switzerland, watchmaking and complication. I really think that this is the best of both worlds. Ermenegildo Zegna, built by Girard-Perregaux. If you're going to steal, as they say, steal from the best. And if you're going to borrow, all the same. The bottom line is that this is a unique episode, and it's already a bit of a moment in time that's passed us by. Having been built in 100 copies, Zegna decided to go down market. First with the Monte Rubello brand, which was kind of a Girard-Perregaux for Zegna Part 2, but in unlimited quantities. And then they stepped away from GP and they started making a lower line that now retails in roughly the $2,000 to $2,500 range. With an original retail price of over $28,000, this represents high horology and high fashion at its best. Like I said, this is not a fashion watch, even if it is quite fashionable. So check out this Ermenegildo Zegna Centennial Limited Edition Annual Calendar, engineered, built, and refined by Girard-Perregaux, with all original boxes, papers, accessories, and documents of provenance on our website, watchyouwant.com.